So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here with the beautiful Ty Beauchamp joining us today from Brown Girl Jane and so many other things we have to talk about. But, Ty, thank you so much for being here, sister.
Elaine. I was going to say E,
Right.
because I don't even know if I call you Elaine too
No,
often.
never.
Um, exactly. After 20 years of friendship and connection and partnership and, working together in so many different capacities and in so many different spaces and lanes and ways, you're just E to me
I'll just eat you.
in
You
the
know
best
what?
possible way.
Yes, I love you.
Super excellent.
I think that's actually a good place to start. I feel like in the past couple of weeks, for some reason, well, not for some reason, obviously, because we work together a lot, as we just said. But I was sharing with a couple of people, a client, and then actually my coach, about how we have worked together you and I and Nicole, especially too, right? But how you and I, especially, have worked together over the years of just, I have this project. Are you interested in doing this on it? Or I'm working on this. This is what they have in the budget. Or how about this? And will you do this? Or can you do this? It just has always been such a collaboration. And I think in large part because we're both entrepreneurs, as women
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and supportive as part of our nature anyway. But just talk a little bit about how you choose, other than with me because you love me, but how with other folks you might choose just partnership and alliances and collaborations. We hear a whole lot about that now, but we don't hear as much how to know when it's the right partnership.
Well, I think you and I and our history is a perfect example and perhaps a wonderful starting point just to extract what I feel are some of the essentials, when you're looking to partner and or work alongside anyone,
Mm-hmm.
especially in today's time when obviously outcomes and output are critical and important, but even more, it's wanting to enjoy what you do and be impactful how you do it. But I think, as I said, looking at our friendship and our connection and compatibility is that a person of integrity in how they get the job done? Are they skilled and capable to do the job that is in front of them, but also do they have an appetite to grow? Because if you think about how we have collaborated over the years, I mean, you hired me
Mm-hmm.
to be the founding beauty editor of a project. And you knew then that it had some experience in that space, but there was an opportunity to grow. So I think first and foremost, alignment around integrity of being able to get a job done, capacity, skill set, talents of having that currently, and then also the desire to grow. And then, having alignment in how you work.
Mm-hmm.
One of my pet peeves, I think you said this with us being both entrepreneurial, even in those capacities when we were working for major brands and corporations, we had entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial mindsets even then, and that wasn't a term that was being used back in 2002 and
2000 and
2000.
whatever.
Yeah, then.
Right.
Um, but the other thing is that I realize now, working on a startup, it's very challenging to work with people who don't necessarily who don't work like you. I think to have people who are executors and doers and visionaries and all of that, you need all of those components within an organization. But you need people, at least for me, I work best with people who are outcome driven. And I think that starting my career in magazine publishing, where you produced a product every single month and we're working on 2 other or 3 other projects simultaneously, you know that you have to be results driven. So it doesn't work to be a person who's results driven and you're dealing with someone who's like, whenever it gets done.
Right. That's true. I never thought about the magazine part of our experience as being deadline driven or deadline aware, at least, even. It's not just an open ended. It's like you have to get this done by this time. You have to review this by this time. This has to go out by this time. I never thought of that. Grateful for that
Well,
experience, for all the other parts of it, right? The perks and all the great things. But it's just like
right.
it taught me so much about being deadline driven and outcome driven as you said.
Absolutely. So I think those 3 critical things are, what it takes for me. And then last but not least, I think enjoying the process of working with people. One of the things that I'm learning now, as a different type of entrepreneur, I'm no longer a solo entrepreneur. I have partners in this business, number one,
Yeah.
but also we're producing a product. And so there are so many other things to consider where I'm not singularly the product as I had been in the past,
Mm-hmm.
as the brand. Is that you want to enjoy the work that you're doing with, but you also want to work with people who are helping you to grow. So
Mm.
there has to be an appetite to grow, but you're working with people that you can learn from. And I think that that's really important at middle management and upper management, especially because I think oftentimes, you're used to being the person who has all the answers in the room. But one of the things that's been really humbling for me in partnership in business is not having the answers and being like, that's great. What you think?
Right, exactly. I love that. And I was actually thinking that about just this, again, with our collaborations and then overall with aligning with other people about this idea of it doesn't always have to be the thing that you know everything about, right? There should be some stretch possibilities there. And I actually am doing something after this where I'm like, okay, in the mirror, I am confident, I am strong, I can do this, I can learn, I can grow, but I'm not going to be afraid of trying this thing. So I was going to ask you about how important is that too, that you, even though you're looking at the partnership based on what you can bring, but also what you can learn.
I think it's essential in life. I mean, one of the things that I think has helped me in business and commercially is that I really apply life principles to business and vice versa. All things aren't, neatly packed in a quadrant. And in life, I always want to be growing. So why wouldn't I want to do the same thing in business? And, I'm not at the juncture in my life where I want to necessarily go back for a degree, even though obviously that has a place in many people's lives and is an opportunity for them. So, my practical MBA studies are the people that share rooms and Zooms with me at this point.
Right. Rooms and Zooms. Exactly. Rooms
Right.
and Zooms.
So
So do you think that sort of go-getter attitude and ambition and those kind of things can be taught or nurtured? Or do you think it's just something that has to be in you when whether you're thinking about choosing a partner or for people who might be on here who have employees or growing their businesses or things like that, do you think it's something that can be nurtured or you want to make sure that's kind of already in a person?
I definitely believe that you can nurture it in children.
Hmm.
I think it behooves us
Right.
to if you have seedlings at home, and if that's something that's important to you,
Right. So basically you got to start earlier.
I do think that you do start early and you can cultivate it. I do believe at any given point in life there is an opportunity to cultivate greater interest
Hmm.
and intrigue in something. I do believe, like, take for instance, my parents or even your parents, there are things that appeal to them where you can develop intrigue and greater interest. And, for a lack of a better term, like, how do you put carrots in front of people? However, I do believe that ambition, if we were to define ambition as something that not only motivates you, but pulls you, and that you're dogmatic about,
Hmm.
I think it can be a little bit more difficult to help someone develop that later in life.
Hmm.
But I do think that you can motivate and inspire people but that's really going to be predetermined upon around like what their current interests are, and how you create that carrot for them.
And what about how to know when to move on from a partnership or circumstance or a client, a manager? Just we've been through all the marriages and divorces and everything over the years, right? Like, girl, this is not
Separation,
working exactly.
becoming,
so,
yeah,
what about that?
well, I think that there's something very practical around that. I think part of, and again, this is one of those things that you can apply a life lesson or it might be a business lesson. When you enter any union, any partnership, any relationship, you have to be very clear about what your intentions are. What are the motivating factors? What are the desired outcomes? Oftentimes, and I can think about this in a very specific instance, and luckily we were able to salvage our relationship and our friendship. But it was really tough. when you don't define what the benchmarks are, what the KPIs are, what are the ROIs, what are those things that you're looking to achieve through the partnership, and it's just this kind of esoteric thing, we're doing this together. When you're not clear about what you bring to the table versus what they bring to the table versus what the growth opportunities are for both of you, where you need to delegate and enlist support. Malika, Nia, and I, my co-founders in Brown Girl Jane, were literally on the call this morning, and I was just like, yes, we can do that, but there are experts that do it better.
Right.
And so I think when you're clear about those things, so knowing what the outcomes are and the anticipated outcomes are and what you desire, knowing what your skill sets are and what you're bringing to the table, knowing what the time investment is going to be, being clear about that, knowing what the financial investments are, all those things, I think you can, honestly then track against that. You're creating ultimately your scorecard and your report card for your partnership. And we should be honest with those. And so, yes, there are partnerships that have had to end because, people weren't and situations weren't measuring up. And that's okay too. That's okay.
Hold on one second. I just saw somebody say, everybody, I want to make sure this is on. Nadia just asked me, are you on? I'm like, yes, we've been talking for almost 15 minutes now. So I want to make sure. So I'm just this is real-time technology. Let me just make sure. She said, are we? I want to make sure. Usually I would try to keep going, but I'm like, I want to make sure you see.
We can always say pause right quick.
Let me see. We're going to say, hold on. Okay.
I love that.
I know. Okay. There we go. I'm about to tell her to refresh. She says, yeesh, I found it. You know what, Nadia? We're going to leave this in the final. Nadia Lopez. Everybody go send some kisses to Nadia Lopez. Let me tell you, that's support though. Right? She's like texting, like, are you on? Are you on? Because I was here at 1:00 and it's 1:18, booze. Where are y'all?
Where are you?
I love it. But that's an example.
I think the good part about partnerships, also, I think the best partnerships, whether they be, commercial or personal, had to find my notifications. We're so happy to see
Nadia.
Is also partnerships should hold you accountable, to show up for what you said you were going to do. And also, as I said before, stretch you. So accountability is a large part of partnerships. And when those things don't measure up, those are sometimes indication that either it's time to revisit the understanding of the partnership and or to release it.
Time to bless and release.
Bless and release.
Exactly. So we have Carmencita here. Carmencita said, I've been listening. Thank you. And
Hi,
Dawn Michelle Hardy.
Hi,
Dawn. Dawn and Carmencita, Nadia. Anyone else, if you have any questions for Ty, please pop them into the comments. We'll make sure we ask her whatever we can get in today. But Ty, I want to segue into Brown Girl Jane, which is a startup that you co-founded and are the chief brand officer of, right? Tell us more about Brown Girl Jane and segueing from this idea of partnership and partnering with a company that may already be going or just starting and deciding, I'm going to be a part of this.
Well, let me just tell you very honestly and candidly, and I'm very public about this, both personally, professionally, in every aspect of my life. I prayed for this. I prayed for this opportunity to partner with like-minded women. I prayed and actually manifested, and I can take ownership on manifesting, knowing that I wanted to create a beauty and wellness collection in 2013. I believe it was on my Thai Life Media diagram. Interestingly enough, it was called Beyond Beauty. And then I later founded an online learning platform called Beyond Ready. And now we have Brown Girl Jane. And so Nia and Malika are my Spelman sisters. They're biological sisters. But Malika and I were at Spelman together. I was actually at a serious crossroads in my own wellness and health journey. I had been reflecting and doing a lot of personal work and, getting healthier, both spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I'm a former beauty editor, and Malika and Nia reached out to me and shared what they were working on. And interestingly enough, at the time I was shooting a travel show, so I wasn't getting any sleep. My circadian rhythm was completely off, if there were one. And I was literally all over the place. And they sent me the CBD, the early kind of iterations of Glow and no, of Balance and Rest, because I helped develop Glow. And it changed my sleeping pattern. It changed my ability to focus and concentrate. And I said to them, I think this is something that other Black women and women of color need to know about, because CBD as an industry is one that has been so over criminalized in the Black community, especially, but even more as an industry, we account for less than 4% of owners in this space, whether it be in farming or dispensaries or what have you. And so there's a lot of growth opportunity. And I was like, I want to bring this to women. I mean, I've always supported women in their wellness and health journey. And so that's how it formed. Yeah, that's how
I
it
love
formed.
it. I love it. It's such a great fit. And we cannot skip over the fact that you said you prayed for this and it manifested. And you and I, Ty is the first person, actually, quick story. Ty is the first person can you believe it's 10 years ago with Barbara Bijou, whom we both love. I was at lunch with Ty I think we were in New York, downtown or somewhere.
I
And
think we were
because
at Houston's, or what was Houston's? It's now Hillstone's.
Hilton somewhere, and
We were at Houston's.
she was about to go to Barbara Bijou's vision board class, right? This is again 10 years ago. And I'm like, where you going? What you doing? What's a vision board class? And I like follow her with like a little puppy to wherever she was going. I wasn't signed up for this class, this vision board class. Got there and I was just looking around. Like, I feel like I think I just left Black Enterprise maybe at the time. There was some big transition, which is what happens with me and Ty. And I followed her to this vision board class and just signed up right there and have been going ever since. So when I hear her talk,
you actually go and I don't go.
You're so busy. I'm like, when is it? I need to be there, just because of the experience of creating something, whether, as you said, a diagram, whatever it is. I'm very much into that. Well, people used to say it's woo-woo. I think it's much more accepted now. But this idea of manifesting and prayer and whatever that looks like for you as a spiritual guide for your goals, not only just, achievement goals, but very much, I know you are very much about how it feels, how it serves not only you, but other people and all of these other things. So for everyone listening, this idea of manifesting, of mapping it out, whatever it looks like for you at the time, manifesting and being open, because as she said, she had a Beyond Beauty idea as far as a name. And then now she has Beyond Ready, which is what you do with corporations and other organizations as far as your leadership training. So it can manifest a little, the clay might shift a little bit, but you never know where it's going to come from or how it's going to work.
And I think it's just one of those things that, I think it's important for us to give ourselves the time and the space to think freely and without terms and conditions, without, pre-established notions and or previous convictions. And oftentimes you have to step outside of yourself to do that. And you also have to step away from the things that keep you and hold you. And again, we live in a society where, especially in America, I'm currently in the UK, but the US is a society where it's like, go, 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 go,
right.
Don't stop. And so how can you ever be creative about imagining where you want to be? And I find that when you step outside yourself, you can think more boldly about what it is you desire to do. And then whatever your spiritual practice and belief may be, you create the space and time to also align, so that way you can step into that,
That's right. So tell us more about Brown Girl Jane and what the products are like, the ones that you mentioned that you use for helping you rest and get relaxation, but then also Glow, which I know you helped develop.
Yes, I'm obsessed with Glow as a beauty editor. So wait, let me see if I have some.
Show us.
Wait. Don't
go away. So I'm going to talk to the ladies while you go. Look at that beautiful background. Everybody get into that's not a Zoom background. That's a beautiful background, right? Okay, so Patrice Perkins says, yes, you are on and popping, ladies. Thank you. Go back to the.
I'm gonna see if Jonathan can go grab some things for me.
Okay.
Because they're upstairs. So let me see if he can grab these for me.
Good.
I don't want to
live.
I know.
That's okay. We're live. We're doing this. No, this is how it goes. This is how we do it.
You know what happened is I was on calls back to back, and literally because I've had this cold, I wasn't dressed, so I was like rushing just to get dressed.
I know.
Um,
It's so funny. I told someone after a meeting this morning, like, okay, now I have to go shower. This might be too much information, but now I have to go shower and actually get dressed for performance, if you will.
well, this is
Like
the other thing that's so crazy about living, during this
this
time. Is
age.
like you're able to, if I'm not on this, which I am a lot, I can kind of be. He's going to grab me. But let me tell you a little bit about Brown Girl Jane. And I encourage you all to visit our site,
Mhm.
browngirljane.com. It's a wealth of information because one of our brand pillars is really to be a source of
Educating.
education,
Yeah.
because we also realize for us as Black women, especially, and obviously our products are for everyone. So you get Brown Girl Jane and you get
You
Brown
get
Girl Jane, you get
right.
Brown Girl Jane. But we created this collection and we continue to expand this collection, centering the needs of women of color like us, knowing what our journeys have been, and not being able to access wellness as an industry, as a form of practice because of life experiences, right? And we like to say we support women in their wholeness because wellness is to wholeness what womanist is to feminist, right?
Wait
Or
a
feminist.
minute. Say it
Yep.
again. That sounds good.
So,
I like
we
it.
support. So, if you think about wellness as an industry, Black and Brown women 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when the yoga boom started to really take off, thank you so much. We're not able to spend $30 to go practice yoga. It also just wasn't a part of our practice,
That's
right?
right.
And how, we had things happening at home. We
Exactly.
had kids, we had multiple jobs, all of the things. And so as an industry, it was very much one that was carved out and created for women who had means. And so we're very intentional as founders. Malika is a wife, mother of 3. Nia is a wife and mother of 2 young ones. I've been a serial entrepreneur, claiming being a wife, all those things, but a caregiver to my grandmother for 13 years.
You better claim it though.
And and you're so silly. And a leader to 8 to 9 employees while producing, all the things that we have to do. And so we were very clear about wanting to create a collection and a community that
Mhm.
had conversations about what this means. And so we are a wholeness brand that focuses on how you can be whole and also center your wellness. So we like to say we are, what feminist is to womanist
Yeah.
is what wellness is to wholeness,
I love it.
considering all those intersectionality points. And
That's
so we have a collection of 5 products currently. I have 4 of them right here. This is our Body Butter Heal, and we're a CBD collection. And so this has 400 milligrams of CBD. Those aching joints that you have, I train, work out, really great to massage your skin with.
can't wait to
CBD
try
has
that.
properties that are anti-inflammatory. We also have CBNs in our
But
in
not
our
addictive, just so everybody understands. CBD
no
is not addictive.
THC.
No
So,
THC, it's not
so there's
addictive.
no psychoactivity. CBD does nothing to the brain. It all works as an anti-inflammatory in your body. So you have your endocannabinoid system, which helps regulate all of the things like stress, not being able to sleep. And so CBD is naturally in your body. You have these endocannabinoids already in your system. So when you add to them, what you're able to do is bring your body into homeostasis. So it's like supplements. Again, no THC, so there's no psychoactivity. So we have our Heal. We have our Glow Serum. So this is our entrance into the beauty category.
Mhm.
This is 750 milligrams of CBD. This is the only thing that I use on my skin. It's great for acne. It's great for psoriasis. It's great for eczema. It's
So
great
after you
for
wash, you use that as a moisturizer or it is the
only as a moisturizer. So this is what I use only. I
okay.
literally wash my skin. I tone like maybe once a week. I exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week, but this is what I use day and night, the Glow Luminous Facial Serum.
And that has gotten a lot of press, I think. I think I've seen a lot of.
Everything has gotten a lot of press.
Well, let me correct myself. Everything has gotten a lot of press. I'm
Everything.
seeing it everywhere.
I mean, it's been a blessing that it
Oh,
really
it's so
has
good.
become a cult favorite. But I think that that's also because as a brand, we focus on providing and presenting the highest level of quality for the most competitive price, because we also want to be accessible to the
Right.
community that we want to serve.
And I'm sure the education piece has something to do with just from the community part of it, not just saying these are some new things, buy them because we say so, or we're influencers or all the other things, nothing against that, but it's more like, this is why this is actually good for you. This is how can actually help. This is why the community needs to know more about this.
No, absolutely. And also we third party testing, lab testing,
Mm-hmm.
literally the highest quality of product. I can't even tell you the testimonials, which if you check out our site, you will see from real people. So when I tried the product is when I said to Malika and Nia, okay, sisters, I get it.
Right.
And I want
That's a good
everyone
part of
else to
it.
get it. Yes, I'm a believer. Make me a believer. So we have Glow. This is our rest. So this has been coming in handy. I'm trying to make sure I'm turning it the right way. This has been coming in handy for a lot of people who are dealing with insomnia, not being able to sleep. You take this dropper, it's a tincture. You take this dropper about an hour before you go to bed, and you literally get one of the most dynamic sleeps.
Mm-hmm. Just under your tongue.
On your tongue, 30 seconds, swallow. So this is called a tincture. We have also something for menstrual cramps, and vaginal health overall that also can be used as a lubricant, but also it's just amazing for endometriosis, severe cramps. You can use it topically.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our balance tincture as well that you take in the morning and really helps you be focused and centered.
I love it. Beautiful. Everyone, you can check out browngirljane.com. And you just did a beautiful event, right? You just did a beautiful event was it this month? Earlier this month, where Halle Berry was a part of it, and Jill Scott, I believe, was a part of it too. All these
Yeah,
wonderful
you did your
people.
research.
Yes, listen, as a journalist.
You are a
Yeah.
journalist. Yes, you are.
No, but yeah.
We've been really fortunate. So we also partnered with Unilever and Shea Moisture. We had created the team at Brown Girl Jane had created something called the Brown Girl Swap, inviting consumers and brands alike to consider ways to support Black women-owned businesses during this movement of Black Lives Matter. And that caught the eye of AC Agustin Bracy over at Unilever and Cara Sabin over at Shea Moisture. So we developed a partnership with them that included us developing a $250,000 grant to support other Black women-owned businesses. We're developing an internship program with Unilever. We amplified 25 other Black women-owned businesses, and we created this amazing summit called the Brown Girl Swap Black Beauty and Wellness Summit, headlined by Halle Berry and Jill Scott, where we really dived into everything around brand building, understanding the beauty and wellness industry, and the things that you need to do if you're an enthusiast or if you're a person looking to start a business. We had some incredible speakers. I mean, people like Morgan DeBaun, Melissa Butler, Beatrice Dixon.
Good part. Got it on right now.
Me too.
Boss lady.
Me
What do you have
too.
on?
I think it's Boss Lady.
Yeah, same.
Yes. Oh, I love that. We matched today. We matched today. Yeah, Mickey Taylor, Angela Manuel Davis, Dr. Chelsea Jackson Roberts. Just amazing roundup of Kimberly Page from BET, AC spoke, Cara spoke, Sharon Shooter from Pull Up for Change, where we're really looking to build community, not just as we support our tribe, as we call them, on their wholeness journey, but also to make sure that we're creating sustainable a socioeconomic opportunity. Thank you, Carmen. It was so good, right?
It was amazing.
It was so good. And I'm not just saying that because I executive produced it. It was really like the content was so powerful and so dynamic.
Says, I am so inspired overall. Thank you. We're so glad to have you here. If anyone has any
Thank
questions, make
you.
sure you ask me or Ty. We'll make sure to ask you. And Ty, we have here from E. Patrice Perkins. Thank you so much for your candor and transparency about prayer and manifestation.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Real. So tell me, how does it feel in this space that you're in right now, since it's tying it all together, where you do have business partners and even personal partners, but just we'll keep it on your professional space. How does it feel
Is
though?
this LinkedIn? No.
I know, right? This is LinkedIn. We'll say that for the gram. But how does it feel though to be in a space of partnership, like welcoming that in and manifesting that? I was going to go down this whole road of sometimes we pray for things, manifest them, and don't let them in. So praying for them, manifesting them, and being open and allowing it to be a part of your space. Do you feel more aligned? Does it feel different this time?
It does. Oh my gosh, it feels incredibly different.
Because you've had, as you said, you're a serial entrepreneur, so you've had
Yeah,
businesses and your own business for over 10 years,
it's
15,
14 years, Elaine.
14 years. That's
Well,
what I was going to say, almost 15
actually,
since.
March will make 15 years.
So how does it feel different
Insane.
right now?
You know, I'm still running Thai Life Media because we're still doing some productions, which is exciting, and I still have the great fortune of doing some of the other work that I do. It feels incredibly rewarding, and it also feels incredibly humbling. I think part of, and again, this is the personal, commercial, or professional, whether or not you say professional or commercial, line that I think Black women and women of color are often balancing is having to be all things to all people on all sides.
Mm,
And, to your point of inviting partnership in, it's humbling when you are like, I actually don't have to do that. I'm actually perhaps not the best person to do that. But it's also incredibly satisfying. It feels amazing to know that one, we have shared values, we have shared desire to impact, and we also have very different skills that we can tap into in order to grow this business and this company, which is not just about numbers. In fact, it's more about community and impact, and we believe the numbers will continue to come. So it's been humbling. It's been incredibly humbling. But I do think that you're right that, it takes some learning. It takes some
some
self-auditing,
unlearning.
some learning and some unlearning,
Mhm,
a lot of self-auditing.
mhm.
And you have to be conscious, but you also have to be fluid.
And does some of the audit also include what do I really want for my life right now? Because I think about, um, well, Ty is younger than me, even though I know I look younger. But when we were younger, both of us, just a different time. Very much go getter. Interns, you were an intern for free at most places. I don't know what the interns do now; they get paid for stuff, which is great. But just a different. You had a different kind of hustle attitude in New York, young publishing industry, all these things. Very much about get it, get the experience, get the opportunities, get. We're at a different phase. I won't say age, a different phase of our lives now. So you definitely are taking it from a different, judging it, I should say, from a different perspective. So is it important too, as part of that audit, to go back to the question, part of the audit to look at I always say, what do you really, really want right now? Not just what do you
Yeah.
really want, what do you really, really want for your life and your business and the way you work and all those things right now?
And I think it challenges you not only to think about those things and be really honest with yourself, but you have to be honest with your partners too.
Mm,
And the other thing about partnership, and this is a lesson that you can take from business,
mhm.
seldom are partnerships 50-50, if
That's
ever, in business. If you have a majority owner, they have at least 51%. If it's two, you might have 49. If there are multiple owners, never is anything 50-50. And so I like to even apply that once you're inside the partnership, after you have even figured out what those percentages are, recognizing that it's not going to be a 50-50 thing. Someone may show up on one day and be able to give 80%. Another
mm,
one on that day, you might only have to give 20% in order to make up that whole. And so it's incredibly humbling, but it also challenges me to appreciate and recognize the gifts and talents that other people bring, while continuing to grow and harness my own. So it's rewarding, it's really rewarding. And I know what I know, but I also know what I don't know.
that's right.
That came with age, because
That
trust me,
came.
if you would have asked me at
That
22
is so
when I had those, those chauffeured cars in New York City, if what I
oh,
didn't know.
those were the days. Those were the days. So anyone, if you have any questions, make sure you or comments, pop them into the comments. So Ty, before we let you go, I do want to talk about, this has been a great conversation, as I knew it would
We don't
be.
have to go. I mean, I'm here.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay.
But
You don't got
I
dressed
don't
now.
wash my face and put on this
I
lip
know that's me. I
in
even
the
put on
building.
perfume. I put on perfume for the Zoom calls where I feel like I really have to be on.
I
It makes
love
me feel
that.
right. Red lipstick
Yeah,
and perfume.
I love that.
But I want to ask you about the personal wellness check. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but this idea of still, even though we're talking about hustling, if you will, or flowing differently, but it still is very much from a space of ambition, achievement, things that you want to do, even if the goal is now service and not so much things or
For
whatever.
me, it's from a vantage point of purpose. So I
Purpose.
think I've always been very purpose driven, which is why I've left certain industries and certain spaces or ended partnerships or chose to not work with certain clients because of the purpose alignment. But it's definitely purpose driven.
So how do you then, as someone who is driven by purpose and all the other things that you want to contribute to the world, know when it's time for a wellness check-in?
Well, every day is a time for a wellness check-in, and that's what we do at Brown Girl Jane. Encourage all of the badass women out there to be intentional about those wellness checks daily, and that's not something that is negotiable. It's not something that is to be penciled in when possible. It's something that needs to be prioritized. And I think when we look at the numbers, just of around what it means to be a Black woman entrepreneur and how we're the largest segment in the fast and growing population of entrepreneurs in the U.S. If we're doing all of this, we're the most educated. If we're doing all of this, how can we continue to fill up if we don't check in? So it's a priority for me, and it's something that's on my calendar every single day. So I think one of the blessings in my life that I've adopted both professionally and personally is everything is on my calendar. So when I was in New York and helping to care for my beloved grandmother along with my beautiful mother, visiting my grandmother was on my calendar. There was visibility on my team with all 8 to 9 staffers around where I needed to be. But just like that, fitness, prayer, meditation is on my calendar every single morning from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m. It's on my calendar. So sometime in that bucket, I like training for 2 hours. I'm a little bit obsessive, but it's you put it on. And I think that we have to get to a place where we start to prioritize it for ourselves. And then if we're going into larger corporations, we can help them understand how to prioritize that as well for their employees.
I love that. I was going to bring up my calendar, but there's so much other stuff on there. It's going to look crazy. Breathing space is on my calendar in the afternoon. And then everything, like you said, from eat, even if I move it around time-wise because of the day, but you just need, or I just need those reminders to do the things that are healthy and sane for me to do. You might think, oh, you should know to just take a breath in the afternoon. No, I'll go to the end of the day and feel like, wow, I did not stop to take a breath today. So when that little chime goes off, I just get quiet for a few minutes and take a few deep breaths. Even those simple things I feel like are a check-in.
They're major. I mean, but also that supports your level of productivity.
Yes, that's right.
And so this input supports output. So, what you put into your body, whether or not that's your diet, what you're feeding your mind, what you're reading, what you're ingesting, all of that is really important. And that really is another pillar of Brown Girl Jane. It's like, understand that you are and can be every single thing that you desire to be. But it's also what you deposit into yourself that gives you the tools, the resources, and the functionality to actually carry those out. So yeah, it's a priority for me. So much so, like literally, Malika will say, she'll call me, like if it's, because obviously I speak to her like 25 times a day, excuse me, and it's not scheduled. And when I'm in LA, she'll call me. She was like, "Oh, wait a minute, are you on your hike? I'll call you back." I said, Yes, I'll call you
So
back.
tell us what some of your wellness, fitness, those kind of things look like for you. I know you change it up every once in a while, but there are some go-to things just for anyone who's looking for some inspiration.
I think the first thing, I mean, I have the good fortune of living in LA full time when I'm there, and having, access to canyons in the middle of the city is just like one of the best blessings
Mhm.
ever. Who would have thought or thunk that this girl from Newark, New Jersey would,
And we
would
love the hiking videos.
loves being on a mountain. Um, but it's been an amazing saving grace for me hiking there. But I encourage people. I'm in the country now in the UK, and I'm running and walking. I just put your feet to the ground, like get outside, enjoy nature. Prayer and meditation is essential for me. Um, I want to learn to dance like for real.
Like
So
salsa, like
no,
what
more
kind
like
of
West
or like
African.
what? West
More like
African.
West African.
Nice.
Like
Now Thai is rhythm
I'm not. No, I'm not rhythm challenged.
adjacent,
I'm not
rhythm
rhythm. So
adjacent.
I have tons of rhythm. I
Oh,
lack coordination. So, but
right. That's what it is.
right. So
I knew it was something.
Elaine knows me well. So I got all the rhythm, but it's like
Uh-huh.
once I look in the
Once
mirror
you see the
and try
step.
and move, it just doesn't. It don't work.
All right, so we're gonna get you some West African dance lessons. I love it. But those are, and that's an example of the wellness check-in fun. That was something, let me see, it's something because of my coach that I put on
You
my
put on your
calendar.
calendar.
Yes, on the weekends because well, first of all, too, this is a blessing. I love the work that I do. I love the people I get to talk to. Thank God it took a while to get here, right? Love the work that I do. So I could
You're
literally do
doing
it.
incredible work,
Oh,
Elaine, too, by the
thank
way.
you. Could literally do it all the time. So I've had to put on the calendar on the weekend, have fun, go hiking, do etc. Again, just as a reminder to myself, even if I work for a little while and then do those things. So it's this idea of whether it's dance lessons or if you're staying in because of the times we're living in right now, people are offering online cooking classes. I want to do with like master chefs, which I think is beautiful. A lot of couples are doing that. Have you cook at home, in your kitchen, they tell you where to go or what to buy, I should say.
That's cute. I know someone doing that. Vanessa Cantave was doing that of Yum Yum Chefs.
Oh, nice.
Vanessa
Yeah.
Cantave was doing that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
There's a few great. So there are just a lot of things that you can do to feed yourself, feed your wellness. It can look a lot of different ways.
I
Yay.
love it. And so
Yeah.
you're what are you doing for fun? I'm curious.
I actually I signed up for a hike next week. So this is my friend Tara makes fun of me because I join these random groups, but there's a black hiking group they're in the US. I don't know where they're located within the US, but there's a chapter, if you will, in Georgia, and they do hikes. I don't know how often on the weekends, but I'm going on a hike. My first hike here, I think I've done Stone Mountain before, but it's probably a real hike. But a hike here, I can't even remember where in Georgia next Saturday. So I want to do more safe group things like getting out, hiking, bike. I want to go buy a used bike. I just moved to the city of Decatur. I can't wait for you to come
I
visit.
can't
City of
wait.
Decatur, one of the things I like about it is a walking city, which is
Yeah, it's really cute.
difficult to find sometimes in Georgia. So just really making sure that I get out and do things. I'm closer to a lot more friends now instead of when I was living further out. So getting together for lunch or ice cream is my favorite. Yay.
I,
So things like that are just gentle, just not gentle isn't the word, just sweet, joyous
yeah.
moments, trying to create as much of those as possible, especially today. Again, I just need that because of the world we're in. I'm trying as much as possible to block out a lot of the noise. I still know what's going on, but just like, how can I fill my time and energy in addition to the work that I love? With the people I love, doing things that I love that bring me simple joys and pleasure. Nadia knows, right? Nadia, I don't know if she's still on here. We went to
But
high
I think you're right about blocking out the noise. I
school.
feel, as someone who's been in the media industry for all these years, about 2 years ago, maybe three, I had to stop absorbing as much of it because it just was not. And we had a cathartic moment not too long ago, after something had happened, and
Yeah,
it just can be too much. And I think that's the other thing that I want to encourage us to do. Take what you need, but don't be afraid to discard what doesn't serve you.
that's
And
right.
so oftentimes I think we hold on, or we're pulling into things just because we think we have to be a part of it. But if it doesn't serve you, women, let it go, release it. And so it's interesting, even being in the media space, someone was like, how often are you on Instagram? I was like, listen, I go on, I post, I do my little engagement, and I'm off. So, while I probably should be on a lot more, I just know what is healthy for me. And so don't be, in terms of your wellness, your wholeness is not going to be the same as Elaine's wholeness and not the same as my wholeness journey. Take what you need, what's in your toolkit. And that's what we talk about at Brown Girl Jane. What is in your toolkit? What are the resources that help you feel like your optimal self, and like you can make the impact and be the person that you need to be, both personally and professionally.
And all around here, Ty already knows, but as a lot of support is sexy is the whole idea. So as you spoke about with us having a cathartic moment, I think this is the one you're talking about. I'll share it because I think it's important for us to remember as women too, to have friends, family, partners, whatever that looks like, people who can hold space for you when you just don't know and they might not know. Sometimes I know I have friends who won't reach out, not to me, but they just having conversations, which is honest. Like, I don't know what to say someone had a loss or in their life or something like that. I don't know. I'm like, sometimes you just have to reach out and be like, you know what? I don't know what to say, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. So one day it was after Elijah McClain was killed. I think I was
Yeah.
very upset about everybody, of course, but it just really hit me. I feel like crying to think about it now. And I had cried, I posted and cried, I cried some, or was crying at something on Instagram. I remember stories. And Ty called me. I think it was either the next day or maybe the same day. And I was out for a walk. Speaking of walking, I need to get out for a walk. And I just talked to her on the phone and I just cried. And you cried with me. I think you cried with me.
That's
And
really good.
she didn't have, who could have the answers, right? Well, we're getting the answers. We're getting stuff together now, all of us as a community. But anyway, at the time, it was just, I think I just kept saying, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. I just don't know. So having a friend like that makes me want to cry. Having a friend like that who will call you and just, or whatever that looks like, or even if I come to her and just say, I don't know what's going on, or this is bothering me, or I feel depressed, I feel sad. You have to surround yourself as much as possible with people who can hold space for you, even if they don't have the answers. So I
And
love you and I appreciate you for that. And I'm just so
like,
grateful
you
for
know how I feel. I mean,
yeah.
that's you know how I feel about you. I mean, this is 20 years in, or 18 and a half years in. So this is real. But it's interesting because I was talking about friendship today on stories, and I developed like 10 friendship commandments, or
Oh.
true tribe commandments. I'm going to work on 7 highly effective practices of great friends, and
Mm.
true tribe. Um, this idea of checking in on your strong friends. So at Brown Girl Jane, we have something called You Good Sis, which is a twice weekly
Podcast.
conversation that I host on IG Live, where I check in with all different types of women from all walks of life and just say, like, how are you? How are you? To really see them. And that's a part of our wholeness practice and toolkit. But we don't have to have the answers, but I do implore people to not only allow themselves to be vulnerable with people, because I think vulnerability is one of those amazing quotients that we don't talk about in business. We talk about EQ, we talk about IQ, but
Mm-hmm.
even on the EQ spectrum, like, vulnerability is a large part of that. And like, I think that connecting on pain point and empathy just really helps on so many different levels. But it's cool to send a text to someone and say, I thought of you. You don't know the power of that thought and how that can really impact someone in a meaningful way. And so I'm grateful that we have each other and have had each other for all these years, both in business and in life, Elaine.
Yay, me too. Love fest, total love fest here. So Carmen Tita said, proud of you both. Thank you. So
Oh,
happy.
Carmen,
She's amazing.
she's a baddie.
She is a baddie. She's a
Yeah, she's
baddie.
a baddie.
And then here's a question for you, Ty. Noreen, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I am craving more knowledge. Does Brown Girl Jane have any internships?
We're actually
Ask what you
hiring right
want.
now both a social intern and an operations intern. So if you can send me an email via LinkedIn, I can get some more information to you. But we're actually hiring at this moment. Like, we just did our first round scan of some people, and I'll be speaking to people shortly. Yeah.
All right, Norima, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Get on it. This is what we're talking about. Don't let the grass grow under your feet, girl. You heard her say it, right? So send a message. You could go ahead and hop off and send a message right, right now. Don't play. That's how Ty and I have got. If you want to know how we've gotten here, I'll be like, oh, you hiring right now? Let me go send a message right now.
It's so crazy. I have these conversations so often. I was like, there was a whole different level of hustle.
Listen, I know a whole different level. Yes. But I think it has served us now because hustled until I just say the hustle looks different now, right? It's from a different place, feels different, but it's still a hustle. Carmencita knows this as an entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur, someone who's trying to contribute and create something in the world. You still got to figure things out and know how to move, but you got to move.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. You got to send that message right now so you get that into. So Ty, thank you so much. This is incredible. Tell people where to find you. Of course, everyone, after this, I'll put links to everything. Brown Girl Jane, Ty on Instagram. So you can follow her, check out her talks and things there. But where's the best place for people to go find you?
I think I'm most connected on Instagram. I do love LinkedIn. I don't spend nearly as much time on here as I should. So Instagram would be the best. What'd you say?
No shoulds.
Okay, thank you. I will begin to.
No shoulds.
I will begin to.
Or you'll spend time on Instagram. I always say it's where you. Ty is a huge community on Instagram, which is fantastic. And it's pictures of her and her travels and just inspiration. So you follow her there at Tybo.
Yes, at Tybo on Instagram, Ty Beauchamp here, Brown Girl Jane. It's Brown Girl Jane on Instagram. Sign up for our newsletter at browngirljane.com. Stay connected, learn more about CBD, share, shop. Holiday season is coming up.
I'm about to go shop right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some heel from my back.
I'm sharing this now. We did a partnership with BET because BET was one of our sponsors for the summit. And I hosted a You Good Sis for them day before yesterday in celebration of Sisters, Tyler Perry's Sisters airing on BET. It was premiered last night. And so use the code SISTAS, SISTAS.
SISTAS on browngirljane.com.
SISTAS, yes. And get 20% off from now until Sunday.
Nice. So everybody use the code SISTAS on browngirljane.com. Depending on when you're airing this, it might be you all will see it right now. But in case anyone sees this later and it doesn't work, it might be later on when you see the replay. But if you're here right now, this is the benefit of being here live with us. You get the code right away. Be live. Yeah. Yes, that's excellent. Thank you. Everybody else use the code. I'm gonna go ahead and pay full price to put my friend. But I'm excited to. I'm just excited for you. And
I'm so grateful for you. I mean, honestly, Elaine, the journey has been sweeter because of you.
Oh, make me cry.
It's been sweeter because of you. I mean, we literally have worked together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm trying to count.
8 times. Did you count when I always forget you were with the foundation in Newark and I was working in the school. Did you count?
I don't forget that one because girl, how can you forget that one?
I will never forget that.
That's the other thing. When people ask me about my professional experience,
like, oh my
God, people are like literally shook. Like, how is this possible? How have you done all these things when they think I'm 19?
Right,
but,
right.
Like, there have been the gamut, but that is what I think has, and I don't by any stretch consider myself a jack of all trades or a Jane of all trades, but I've definitely learned and flexed my muscle in different arenas that have helped me grow to be an expert in some areas. People.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Listen, that whole role, all the work.
Whew. Yes, the children were very educational. Never mind trying to get them educated. I was quite educated during that experience. God bless teachers. God bless the educators. Nadia, all of you. God bless you for sure, for sure.
That was a beautiful experience, though. I'm happy that you were there.
I know. We were just like, what are we doing? Carmen says, deep bow to you both for committing so much of your life to supporting women globally. Thank you.
When I tell you, Elaine, I remember I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I told you.
I told you, girl. These are kids in Newark.
But
Listen, those kids were they're
it was,
unforgettable.
let me just tell you
I just
though,
the resilience.
I have to share some of
Uh,
Laquan Ford and I are still super close, but they changed my life and they changed
yeah.
my perspective on life and they gave me such inspiration and motivation. I mean, quite honestly, I know that that work is what really led me to fully focus on purpose in all
Mm,
things. And I want us to recognize that you can be purposed in your work and still create enterprise and have a certain level of financial growth and building, because we need it. But yes, those children taught me a lot.
they taught me a lot too. One kid, I can't remember his name, but I remember his face and everything in particular because there were unfortunately a lot of fights and things either in this school or around this particular school in this area of Newark. And I remember having a conversation with him about not so much saying don't get in trouble or stay out of trouble. It was more so a be safe conversation. And he explained to me, I won't go into all the detail here, but he explained to me that there was a situation where the fight literally came to his door. These kids came to his door to fight him and his whoever else was there, family things. And he was like, I try to stay out of trouble, but a lot of times trouble comes looking for me. It's around the corner. And his, his perspective at his age and the experiences certainly that he's had, but it gave me such a fresh perspective on the finger wagging at kids sometimes, or stay out of trouble, or
Yeah,
don't do this, or all these things that we make a judgment and we don't necessarily know the full picture of what their lives are like, what their experiences are like, how hard they're trying. I think that that experience reflects how I feel about a George Floyd now, how I feel about a Ray Sharp, how I feel about
yeah,
victim blaming in the age that we're living in. And just, you don't know what these folks were going to turn out to be. Nobody's perfect. We all know that from no one is. But still, even you just don't know what these folks are going to turn out to be. So
but
it just, he
everyone
just
has
reminded
potential. But
everybody,
everyone
you
has
don't
potential.
know.
And
You
so if
don't
we
know.
seek to, and Nadia knows this, if you seek, and I come from a family of educators, if you seek to tap into what the potential is rather than, resting on and relying too much on around what
Current.
the challenges are, we
Yeah.
just stand to create greater impact. So my mentor, Ray Chambers, thoroughly inspired me. And I'm just so grateful for that experience. And I'm grateful you were on the journey. I have
All
another call.
right. I know. Bye. Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank you, everyone, for being
Bye.
here. Bye bye.